Over the last 2 months, there is one product that I have heard more people talking about in the real world on the golf course than any other. And it's not a traditional golf product, but people have been raving about this, which led me to say, you know what, I gotta try that and find out for myself. What is that product? It's this. This is the Hyper Ice Venom 2 Back. And this might be the ultimate golf recovery tool. People have been raving about this thing, and I had to find out for myself if it's actually any good, and that's what we're talking about in today's video. Is the Hyper Ice Venom 2 actually good for golfers? Will it help you warm up for a round? Will it help you recover from a round? And is it worth the $269 price point where you will find it? That's what we're talking about today. Let's jump right into it. So this whole thing started 2 months ago when I was on a golf trip back east. One of the guys in my group was out on the range warming up with this thing on, and I'm like, dude, what is that? He's like, it's this Hyper Ice product that heats my back. I usually wear it on the way to the golf course. By the time I get to the range, I'm feeling great, I'm nice and loose, and then I put it back on after my round, and it's allowed me to keep playing on long golf trips. And I was like, huh, interesting. Cool. So kind of filed that away. But then over the course of the next few weeks, it just kept coming up. People were like, yeah, I just bought this like heated back thing that's all of a sudden made it easier for me to get loose and warm up. And it's like I was hearing that over and over again. So I went out and got one and tried it for myself. So let's jump into my first impressions of the product. Wait, I guess we should back up. Before we talk about first impressions, let's talk about what the Venom 2 is. First off, very aggressive name, the Venom 2. I don't know where they came up with that name, but essentially this is just a back heater and massager. The idea being that whether you're getting ready to go out and participate in activity or you're trying to recover in an activity, by having heat, by having massage, it is going to loosen up the area and allow you to get ready quicker and recover quicker as well. So in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not it actually does that, and if so, how well does it do it? Okay, now let's talk first impressions. Out of the box, the presentation from Hyper Ice is really, really well done. The box is high quality, you open it up, the display is high quality, the way everything is neatly laid out, very nice, and the product itself feels very high end. In the box, you're gonna receive the device itself, you're gonna receive a little instruction packet, you're also going to receive a barrel wall charger that curiously includes adapters for every different type of outlet around the world. I guess that's nice if you're planning on taking this to Europe or Asia or taking it on international vacations, but the reality is I'm gonna lose all of the ones that it came with before I ever do that, and inevitably if I'm taking a trip like that, I'm going to have an adapter with me. So maybe they're just doing that for convenience, but it feels like kind of a weird thing to include, but there it is. As far as battery life, this thing is rated for up to 3 hours. The charger, like I said, it is a barrel charger. I do wish personally that it was a USB-C charger. I realize that this probably takes quite a bit of juice to get going, but the USB-C charger would be more convenient just because I have so many of them more around. Also, one thing that's admittedly a niche problem, but if you're going to become a Hyper Ice power user and you have other Hyper Ice products, at the same time as this, I got the Normatec Elite Hips. That's one of their higher end compression massagers. Also uses a barrel charger, but it is a different size than this one. So for these two devices, which I could see a lot of people using together, you do have to have 2 dedicated chargers. Again, that's not gonna be an issue for most people, but that is one thing that I noted in my testing. When it comes to the product itself, it feels very high end. So first off, you notice it's a very high end feeling neoprene. And one of the things I noticed right off the bat is the Velcro. So if you look at this Velcro, it doesn't feel like the cheap Velcro you had on your ski jacket as a kid. Like this feels very high end, it's very low profile, and so it makes it very easy to stick wherever you want, and it is very grippy as well. So every time you put this thing on, it is really easy to get it to fit exactly the way you want it to. Using it could not be simpler. One thing that I thought was kind of cool, when you turn it on, lights up with this red Hyper Ice logo. Kind of a cool bonus feature, not something they need to do, but it definitely does make it feel a little bit more high end. On the top, there are 3 buttons. In the center, you've got the power button. On the left, you've got the heat button, which has 3 different levels of heat. And then on the right, you have the massage function, which to be clear is not different 3 intensities of massages, but it's 3 different vibration patterns. So you have one that's just kind of a constant vibration or massage, and the others are just different pulsation patterns that are designed to help increase blood flow to your lower back. As soon as I put this thing on, I was really surprised. Like I was expecting to feel the heat, but not have it be that noticeable. No, you turn this thing on, and if you turn it on high, not only does it heat up really quickly, but it actually gets surprisingly warm. So depending on how hot you want it, I don't think you're going to be disappointed in in the level of heat this provides, and I probably shouldn't be surprised. Like $269 for a glorified heating pad, that's a lot of money, so you would expect it to work really well, and fortunately this does. When you pair the heat along with the vibration, man, this thing feels really nice. So the real question is, how well does this thing work? And honestly, it works great. As you might expect from a product that really does something pretty simple, it heats up and it vibrates, and it's $269, like that's a fair amount of money. You would expect it to work well, and it does. You put this thing on, like I said, it's very easy to fit it exactly the way you want it to. It heats up quickly, and the vibration actually feels really good. I took this on a 4-day golf trip over to Sun River with some of my friends. This was the first time I tested it out, and I was curious to see how it would perform. So the morning of our first round, I put it on, I turned the heat on all the way up, I turned the vibration on, I was walking around, and after 15 minutes of walking around and doing that, I was legitimately surprised how good I felt. I then went and did another like 5 minutes of just kind of basic stretches, and I did find those stretches, which I typically do before a round, to be a lot easier. I felt like I had a little bit more range of motion. The back soreness that I sometimes have was nowhere to be found, and I went out that day and I shot a 75 at the Woodlands course at Sun River, which was not only my best round of the year, it tied my best round of all time and was the best round that I shot in a decade. Coincidence? Yeah, probably. It probably has nothing to do with this, but the first time I used this before a round, I shot my best round ever, so take that for what it's worth. It's also kind of funny because when I first brought this to the house, these guys were laughing at me, they were making jokes about me being an old man, and I feel like an old man having this and using this, but by the end of the trip, every single one of them was using it. I'd go to look for it, I'd walk over to the living room, and one of them would be sitting there with it around. They're like, yeah, this thing feels pretty good. This thing's nice. These guys would be genuinely disappointed when they'd go to get it and they realize, oh, we forgot to charge it overnight and now it's dead. Which brings me to battery life. This thing is rated for up to 3 hours, but in my experience, if you were using it on high for heat and vibration at the same time, you realistically probably are only going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 hours. Not a huge deal, especially if you're someone who remembers to charge things after you use them, but I did find that under heavy use, that battery rating did seem a little overly ambitious. So all that to say, is it as good as everyone says it is? Honestly, I think yes. If you're someone who's younger and the thought of like warming up or stretching is still not gotten to you yet, then you probably don't need it. But if you're a middle-aged golfer or someone who's a little bit older and you've gotten to that point where your back does tighten up and you do need a little extra help before your early morning rounds and you do want to warm up a little bit, this is the best tool that I have found. And don't get me wrong, I've tested a lot of different golf recovery tools. The 8 sleep system is one of my favorite things I have ever invested in and has genuinely helped my sleep. The Chirp decompression massage table, I use it a few times a week and it feels like I'm getting a legitimate massage. The Normatec Elite Hips, the compression massager that is more expensive at like $600, I have been using that almost every single night. But when it comes to preparing me for a round of golf, I think this is it. I think this does more than any of those things because I can put it on the way out to the course. By the time I get there, I'm feeling loose, I'm feeling ready. And even though the things it promises to do are pretty simple, it does those things well. So if you're someone who needs a little extra help warming up before a round, I think this is probably the best device you're going to find to do that. Also, as a weird second use case, my wife oftentimes when she has cramps will use a hot water bottle. You can take this, you flip it around, and all of a sudden, you've got a heating pad that she can put on her stomach and help with her cramps. So we have a variety of different use cases for the Venom 2. But overall, this is a product I was pleasantly surprised by and is something that has actually made it into my pre-round routine. With that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80. If you are someone for whom this is a target market and you're looking for things that can help you off the course, both get ready for a round, recover from a round, adapt a little bit more, I will link to my full list of my favorite golf recovery tools down below. These are things that I found to work really well, even if they're not necessarily specifically golf products. But if you're intrigued by this, then I think you're going to be intrigued by some of these other things as well. So I will link to that below. If you have questions on this or anything else, drop a comment. I'll do my best to answer. And with that, I hope you have an excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.